Good morning. Glad you're here. And as always, I want to start off by thanking God for another day and the opportunity to spend some time with all of you. So today we're going to look at the third metaphor that the Bible gives us to teach us God's view of life. And it is that life is a temporary assignment. So the other day we talked about how God made us to last forever, and He did. But our life on earth is temporary. To make the best use of your life, you must never forget two truths. First, compared with eternity, life is extremely brief. And then second, earth is only a temporary residence. You won't be here very long, so don't get too attached. The Bible often compares life on earth to temporarily living in a foreign country. This isn't your permanent home or your final destination. We're just passing through, just visiting. David says in Psalm 119:19, I am but a foreigner here on earth. And then Peter tells us in 1 Peter 1:17, if you call God your Father, live your time as temporary residents on earth. When we grasp the truth that our identity is in eternity and our homeland is in heaven, then we can stop worrying about having it all here on earth. And God is very blunt about living for the here and now, about adopting the values and priorities and lifestyles of this world. We're told in James 4:4, you're cheating on God. If all you want is your own way, flirting with the world every chance you get, you end up enemies of God and His way. Think of it like this. You're an ambassador to an enemy nation. So in order to do this successfully, you can't isolate yourself from the enemy. You have to have contact with and try to relate to them. You learn their language, their culture, their customs. And you do this in an attempt to be polite and complete your mission. But you can't become too comfortable in this country, falling in love with it and preferring it to your homeland. Because if you did that, your loyalty and commitment would change. And instead of representing your home country, you would become like the enemy. You'd be a traitor. The Bible tells us in 2 Corinthians 5:20, we are Christ's ambassadors. And we are Christ's ambassadors here on earth. And heaven is where we have our citizenship. Have you ever wondered why, as a follower of Jesus, we experience difficulties, sorrow, and rejection in this world? Why some of God's promises seem unfulfilled, some prayers seem unanswered, and some circumstances seem unfair? God allows us to feel discontent and dissatisfaction in life, and we're not completely happy here. Because we're not supposed to be. Earth is not our final home. We were created for something so much better. And we're going to have happy times here, but nothing compared with what God has planned for us. So realizing that life here is just a temporary assignment, that should radically alter our values. Eternal values, not temporary ones, should become the deciding factors for all of our decisions. So as C.S. Lewis observed, all that is not eternal is eternally useless. 2 Corinthians 4:18, we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but on what is unseen. For what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal. So it's a fatal mistake to assume that God's goal for your life is material prosperity or popular success as the world defines it. The abundant life that we're promised has nothing to do with an abundance of stuff. And faithfulness to God, it doesn't guarantee an easy life or a successful career. We should never focus on the temporary crowns. Paul was faithful, and he ended up in prison. John the Baptist was faithful. He was beheaded. Millions of the faithful have been martyred. and others have lost everything. In God's eyes, the greatest heroes of faith are those that treat this life as a temporary assignment, and they serve faithfully, expecting their promised reward, not now, but in eternity. So your time on earth, it's not the complete story of your life. You have to wait till heaven for the rest of the story. So I want to close with an old and often repeated story. And it's about a missionary who's coming home to America on the same boat as the president. And there's cheering crowds, a military band, a red carpet, banners, and the media all there to welcome the president home. The missionary, though, he gets off the boat completely unnoticed. Feeling self-pity and resentment, he begins complaining to God. But then God gently reminds him, "But my child, you're not home yet." So our one thing to chew on today, this world is not my home. When life gets tough, when you're overwhelmed with doubt, or wondering if living for Christ is worth it, remember, you're not home yet. At death, you won't leave home. You'll go home. That's my thought for today. Let me know yours in the comments, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.